10:02 on the Fan. What's happening? This is the Tiki and Tierney Show. 877-337-6666 is our number. We got a lot to hit. How about Mariano throwing a little high cheese at Aaron Boone?
Yeah.
I mean, Mariano, the gentleman that he's always been, does not like the state of the Yankees. We'll get to that later. Even though Jerry didn't want to get into it during the update. David Stern is now free to negotiate with the Mets and the Yankees. Mm-hmm. And we got a little. Why do I have guys have a little bit of an echo here in my thing? If we get a little disconcerting here, that's very hard to speak that way. It's actually impossible. I think I'm in the loony bin when that happens. There we go. And also, you know, the basketball scene is taking shape here. So we got a lot to do today, Teak. I'm fired up, and here's what I'm most fired up about this weekend. Are you ready? Okay. All right. I guess we have some mic issues. We're good. Here's what I'm most fired up about this weekend. I am most fired up about having a chance to stare somebody in the face and finally do something about a situation that has gone on for far too long. Do you realize that last year the Jets lost 54-13 to the Patriots? Of course you realize that because you watched it. Do you realize that back in 2019 the Jets lost 33-0? Do you realize that back in 2018 the Jets lost 38-3? Do you realize that back in 2016, the Jets lost 41-3? You know about the ghosts of the butt fumbles. Did you also know that the 54...
Anything else, BT?
I'm getting there. That the 54 that they gave up a year ago is the most that they had allowed in the game since 1978. There are certain bridges you got to cross. Rocky had to beat Mr. T. The Yankees eventually have to find a way to beat the Astros. And while we've got all this positive energy, and rightfully so, around these high-flying 5-2 New York Jets, this is a game you have to win.
You forgot Clubber Lang and Ivan Drago for Rocky. Yeah, look, you're right about that. And at some point, I mean, it feels like we've been waiting for this moment forever, where the Jets and other teams in the AFC East, but in particular the Jets, because they've been at the bottom for so long, have the opportunity to consistently beat the New England Patriots. And this might not be the year that it fully comes to fruition, where you know that you can beat them, but this is where it needs to start for the Jets. And it almost is a mindset where for years you felt the Jets are supposed to lose to the Pats. As soon as that changes, where fans and media and people who are looking at both of these teams will say, well, I don't actually know what the outcome's going to be. That's a win for the Jets. And so this is a big week for New York, obviously, for both of these teams, but particularly the Jets because of the nemesis that the Patriots have been for, feels like decades. I guess it has been decades.
It's been 12 straight games. 12 straight
I know, but I'm
games.
talking about just the overarching last 20 years.
Yeah, no, I understand.
It's been a big deal.
Though.
This is a big game, even though it's an innocuous one from the larger set of the NFL, but for...
Why? Because the Patriots aren't what they were, and
exactly.
The Jets aren't quite upper echelon.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I
the Jets have been
that,
diminished, and I mean, the Pats have been diminished. The Jets are kind of on the come. People outside of New York, outside the AFC East, are saying, who cares about this game? But it's a big deal.
But I agree with you in terms... It's not a five-star matchup to the country, but it's a platinum matchup to us. You know, and I remember sitting there watching the game last year. That's the game when they injured Zach Wilson. I thought that Judon play was late. Whether it's dirty or not, whatever. That bothered me. You know, they scored almost 60. They were throwing on them late. Like, that's the kind of game that you take into the offseason. That's the kind of game, quite frankly, the Jets just didn't have the horses to do a damn thing about it. And I know that drove Robert Saleh nuts, and I'm sure that he is carrying that energy into this week here. Now, listen, if the Jets were to lose, it doesn't mean that we can't continue to take them seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to have to, I think, cause a little bit of a recalibration of expectations if they don't come out of this game with a win. The Patriots are not scoring a lot of points this game. They're just not. The Jets' defense is elite. The numbers back that up. Every level is a problem for the opponent. They come at you in waves on the D-line. The linebacking play, which I thought would be a little bit of a weakness this year, is not the ultimate strength, but certainly better than I thought. And that secondary has been lights out, starting with Sauce Gardner and obviously DJ Reed. And now the safeties with those communication concerns we heard early in the season that we didn't want to hear about.
Yeah.
We didn't believe it because we just, same old Jets. Whiffing on tackles. What are you doing, Whitehead? What are you doing, Joyner? Well, those communication malfunctions have gone away. And now the onus is on the Jets not to come out and score 40, not even to score 30, but to score one more point than the Pats. And that's where Zach Wilson's got to make some plays.
No, he's got to do that. But here's the other thing. I think for the first time in a long time, it feels like Bill Belichick is vulnerable. And it's obviously because he's lacking some talent on both sides of the ball. That we're used to always be able to draft and acquire these guys who just kind of come out of nowhere, the Wes Welkers of the world, the Julian Edelmans of the world, they're just dominant. He doesn't really have that player anymore. And so there's a vulnerability to Bill Belichick. And as a result, you've seen him, I don't know, not really unsure, but it's not like he's beyond reproach any longer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, his resume is what it is. You're never going to diminish how great of a coach he's been over the course of his career and his tenure in particular in New England. But now you see him kind of feeling desperate, right? He doesn't know who his quarterback is going to be. Is it Mac Jones, who's only in his second year, and he's treating Mac, I mean, you're not supposed to lose your job via injury. Now he's kind of jacking around with him. And you got Bailey Zappi, who a lot of people don't know, where he's from or what he's all about. But he's non-committal. And I think that's dangerous for a coach, and I've never loved this from any coach, but it's surprising from Bill Belichick to keep it kind of, I've always planned to play both guys. And, we don't have
it's not the SEC. I mean, come on, stop. You have no quarterbacks right now that you love.
And that's it. Uh-huh. But when you have that situation and you talk it without clarity, the way that he talks everything without clarity, you create somewhat of a division in your locker room. And so there's a vulnerability, meaning one half of the team will say, I want Mac Jones. He was great last year. Other team will say, well, Bailey Zappi gives us a better chance to win right now. So you get that division inside your locker room. It creates a vulnerability, and it's something I never thought I would see Bill Belichick create in his own locker room. And it's his creation because he's non-committal about it. And so if you're the Jets and you know that this is happening, this is your chance to take advantage of it.
Oh, you're licking your chops.
100%.
You can't wait to hit that field on Sunday and just, collapse the pocket and really lay it to this team. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney on the Fan Company from our Town Fair Tire studio, powered by Town Fair Tire. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. And I can't overstate the optics of the game last season. I mean, listen, chapter and verse, I just told you they've lost 12 straight. The scores have been incredibly uneven, 33-zip, 38-3, 41-3, blah, blah, blah. But that was with a team that was directionless and really devoid of any sort of talent. This is an entirely different set of circumstances, and the crowd's going to be revved up. You got the black. I struck the deal with Boomer, by the way. We got a deal, Booms. I got you, buddy. I'll captain one of the. I don't know if I'll make it the 40 miles, but I'll certainly give it my best for your great charity. I'm looking forward to that in May. By the way, I'm gonna get Tiki and Hoff along with me as well. But listen, this is the kind of game where I think that I don't want to put. I don't know that I want to put that much pressure on top, but I might have to. To me,
why?
Because
because you want
you're not
to.
beating the Bills.
So why would you not? Why would you not? Because clearly you want to.
Well, and I'm not afraid to. That's the thing. There's been other times where you almost attach too much value to a game, and you kind of you let your heart take over, and you maybe overstate what a certain team is. The Jets are better than the Patriots. Forget about the history and the lineage and all the things that have gone through in this rivalry. Just look at the rosters. Watch them play football. Watch Justin Fields find himself the last game against this Patriots defense obviously is good. But, Justin Fields, who has been very skittish this year many, many times, I mean, he made a lot of plays, and I expect Zach Wilson to do the same thing. It's unrealistic, Teak, to push this thing too forward and say, okay, the Jets are ready to battle the Bills for the division. Nobody's saying that. But what I'm saying is I really believe the Jets are ready and more specifically equipped to push the Patriots aside and relegate them to a tier that is below the Jets at this point. The Jets are better.
Yeah.
Now you got to show it.
I look at I do the on paper thing a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at just the wide receiver core. You start there.
Jacoby Myers?
Yeah, Jacoby Myers.
Shut him down. Done.
Nelson Aguilar is hurt. So
DJ.
So Tyquan Thornton is going to have to play a little bit. Kid from Baylor. I think they drafted this year. Devontae Parker's there.
Yep.
There's no one that's scaring you.
Nobody.
For this team. And the running back, Ramondre Stevenson's a good player, but there's not a ton of,
no.
This guy's going to crush me.
And by the way, the teams that the
pile up yardage, right?
Well, the teams that the Jets have already played, where they had a few of those guys that did scare you, the Jets secondary shut them down. I mean, Jamar Chase didn't go nuts against the Jets, and now I know the Packers don't have a ton with Devontae Adams now with the Raiders, but you look at some of the teams that the Jets have played, and all the numbers are favorable.
Here's the question.
Matchups favor the Jets.
Here's the question that I think Robert Saleh is going to have to answer. He's probably already answered it because we're late in the week already. It's Thursday. How is he approaching this? Is he approaching this game as if, hey, guys, we've won 4 in a row. Let's win the next one. Or is he approaching it, this is the New England Patriots. This is a team that's dominated this division, dominated our team for a decade and a half.
Mm-hmm.
There's something more to this game than just being the next one. Right?
Yes.
I almost, if I was a player, I'd almost want that. I'd almost want the importance of this matchup to be highlighted as opposed to, it's just the next one, guys. Let's win the next one.
Yes.
It makes it more urgent, and it forces you to dial into all the little things to try to beat one of the best coached teams historically in football.
I totally agree. And by the way, behind the scenes, if Saleh's not doing that, I'd be very disappointed. I'd be very, very surprised. You've got to make this personal because it is personal.
Of course it is.
And again, all you have to do is go back and watch the game. Forget about all the other games. Watch the game when they were flirting with 60. They were toying with the Jets. They embarrassed the Jets. They did it on purpose.
Yep.
Anytime Belichick has a window to do it, he does it. They were throwing late. Yeah, now listen, Tiki's point about how Saleh's handling this right now, I think it would be almost, first of all, it would be maybe counterproductive and unnecessary to project that to us. I don't care what he says to us.
I don't either.
I don't care if he doesn't say it's the Pats and, we were in base. He's not going to say that, of course. There's no way he projects that publicly. Behind the scenes, it better be raw. He better let the new guys, hey, DJ, this team, they punked us last year.
That's right.
Hey, Garrett Wilson, when you were with the Buckeyes, this team, they came in, they took a dump on us last year. And the rest of you men that were in this building last year, you know what this team did to us. Now it's our turn, and it's go time.
Yeah,
and I would absolutely guarantee that that's how he's playing it.
Yeah,
Let's go.
This game in the fourth quarter was basically
Jets are going to win this game.
Was basically over. And
Jets are going to win this game.
New England went on a 4-play, 53-yard touchdown drive, a 9-play, 78-yard touchdown drive, just to add insult to injury.
Oh, yeah. The salt was out. The wound was open. The emotions were trampled. Now we get a little payback, or at least a chance for payback. I can't wait. And that place is going to be on fire. The Jets have won a lot of road games so far. They beat the Dolphins. All right, it was the backup to the backup, but you had to start winning some home games. Now, this is just another checkpoint, a little toll in the road to relevance. You have to beat this team. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney on the Fan. Other things we'll get to. I told you, Mariano Rivera, who never says stuff like this, really out of character, saying Aaron Boone should be fired. And a target for the Mets is now a little bit more available. We'll get to that as well. Tiki and Tierney right here on the Fan.